We have the Enchanted Animal Oracle or something. Mystic Mondays, archetypes, and Slavic to start with. I'm going to start with the archetypes. All right. Here.
And Ileana said, thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey. We got the Midas and Miser, the Storyteller, and the Angel. This is a lifetime that comes in that you were raised with your grandmother. Somehow that you didn't get raised with your mother at all. She was their guardian angel quite a bit around you during your lifetime, but your grandmother was who raised you as a young one. Your grandmother had enough that it wasn't huge wealth, but she had more than enough. She would live very frugally. She knew what she was doing. Think old grandma, maybe not gothic farmer type person, but she knew some things. Interesting. Let's flip this one for just a minute for me to see. Always carrying you so close. Always. This gentle carrying you so close. In this particular lifetime, I think that your mother died shortly after you were born. Maybe not directly in childbirth, but as of complications afterward is what's coming through. This is a message from her. Now, this may be somebody who was a mother of yours in another lifetime. She may not be your mother in this lifetime. Those roles get shifted around. The grandmother who raised you may come through as a mother in another lifetime too, but the grandmother raised you in this particular lifetime. What would be the messages that you would have gotten from her, or the things that she would have wanted you to know? Because this was a huge influence. Huge feeling of influence there, of vibrancy and joy and lightness going through. Wow. So she was on the lookout, and this is very, very much the guardian energy, and almost surround you and protectively shield you a lot. Sometimes things you wanted to do, you weren't allowed to do or take on, because she would help orchestrate a little bit more protection in there. And whether she was nudging the grandmother or what in the direction, whispering to her, tell her no on this, I don't know. You were a little bit reckless. You wanted to go out and try life and experience life. I'm getting shades of Rapunzel, not so much that you were kept in the tower, but sometimes you did feel like, I just got to get out of here. Come on, I want to go play. I want to go be free. I want to go do something. But you had a recklessness about you that's why there was protection. And the king comes through too. Wow. This is all swords, and these have been shuffled and used and used. To have this much of the royal court coming through is saying there was knowledge, there was clarity on this. It's not like any one of your family was unaware of her presence. There would be little things, whether they would be signs, like we would see feathers now and think, okay, maybe that's an angel looking out for us, or maybe that's related to a passed on relative. There would be signs all the time, and everybody was seeing it. And your grandmother was really, really wise. Really wise on this. She saw it all the time. She knew the clarity. She knew the knowledge that there was a use of words and the ability to speak in words and do writing really well. Really quite a lot for her time. There's this suspended time. This lifetime you came down to experience and learn a little bit on your own. So you knew that this would be the case before you came down in this lifetime to this particular thing. There would be an upside downness in your world as you would wander through. You couldn't be overly educated, but you would want to do much. The grandmother carried the burden. Look at this. Grandmother was meant to carry you in this particular one. It does seem like it was overseas, and this is back. How many is that? I think it's 200 plus years. I would get this is 250 years where this has gone by. This felt like a long time to prepare all the people that would be the soul contracts in this to get together. So you could have so much independence but be protected at the whole time while you're learning this. It feels very much like you were in the female form in this past life. Your intuition was trying to kick in like cattails, cat of nine. What do we got? I'm getting cattails, cat of nine. It means basically you were reckless. You were protected more often than you know, but you would be like climb the tree and fall right out of it. That kind of energy. Get yourself in a pickle or in a fix and not realize, like the cat has 9 lives. You had life. Like you were always running around and maybe not creating havoc, but you certainly didn't make it easy for the grandmother. There was a certain amount of outdoor run around wildness that had to be there. Oh, your purpose in this life was to face down fear a lot, to learn how to see what was fearful to you and face it and face it and face it again and again and again. The worry that you caused from others around you on their behalf helped them overcome fears too and see that it's okay. They were almost chained by the old habits, the old ways, almost so much that they wouldn't think outside the box, where you were like the free-spirited wild thing running around like crazy. They were chained to dogmatic situations. They were like, here's the rules. This is how we do it. Everybody does it. And maybe a little bit more conformist than you. You were not. You were like, look at me go. Very much. Very much. There's something about dancing coming through. This isn't ballerina dance. That's not that kind of dance. Is this dancing just at an occasion? Or is this something, an occupation more? Like something you like to do? Or is it an occupation? This is something you just like to do a shit ton of the time. Dancing in celebration. You would also love to dance at those, I'm getting like, maybe a bar mitzvah or quinceañera, those kind of watershed moments of life. Very much dance in the appropriate May. There's this dance, you were always dancing, you loved to do it, you loved movement. Now we're getting to. Someone sees you in this rites of passage thing. I don't even know if it's rites of spring, but it could be. Someone sees you. Here's the romantic relationship right here. They see you, they come forward, they want to pay the dowry, and you're like, grandma's like, no, being mama bear on it, like, nope, she's not for you. You're not good enough for her, basically. You had deep affection for this one. I think your grandma was like, no, you're going to have to prove yourself. You're not good enough for her. Go away. You came back a year later. This is very much more rites of spring going on. You came back a year later. Ornerier too, a little bit more. You thought, or he thought, excuse me, he thought he was ready to prove himself. Grandma Bear's like, no. Comes back again. You're getting older now. Has a little bit more to offer, has a little more money. Wants to charge in and charge forward. Here you are. You're doing the gardening. Grandma's getting older too. But she still has this bear energy, this hibernating, this waiting, this bear time. I don't know if, I'm not getting quite the time frame here. I'm trying to. $7 years till almost missed opportunity, till you had almost forgotten and were not really excited about it. 7 years. 7 years this went on. This was a long period of courting. He must have seen you when you were mid-teens, like 15-ish. And it feels like this is more like you would be mid-20s-ish somewhere. There's a juggling and a balancing of how much do you need to be home? How much do you need to be taking care of your aging grandmother now? And how much do you inherit? She wanted you set up well. She wanted somebody that just wasn't a fly-by-night. She waited. It was almost like she knew once that you married, then her job was done and she would pass over. Yeah, she definitely knew. And she didn't want there to be any betrayal or any difficulty. She let him get his skill set, make his way in the world, make his mark, and figure out how that would go. But boy, did you have like a little bit of a rough go of it. Like you would think about him, but then he would be gone. And you thought, well, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. This would nudge you, yeah, it will, yeah, it will. Your mother knew it will, your mother knew it will. But your mother and your grandmother tried to protect you for quite some time. They were worried about miser energy and worried about marrying a man that was too miserly. This is why we have the Midas and the miser here. And we have this here coming through. They were worried about this. I think it came at a high price for your mother to even bring you through. So that's part of the reason the worry was there. Yeah, there was conflict about this. I think whoever was the father in this whole story was very hugely absent, doing other things, often doing other things. Not a part of your growing up as much as the grandparents were. And they did not want you to have that experience. It feels like for quite some period of time when you were young, your father was away. And I think that in some ways there was a little bit of an abandonment type of thing going on. And finally you come into your own. He presents stronger and soldier and death. He may have been in the army at a point and died later on in life because of that. In some sort of army or fight and protect type mode. Your suitor that was there. I don't think it was such a bad thing. I don't think it was a terrible thing. What else we need to know? The stag and the crow were close by. The stag says take the lead, which you would always try and do. And the crow says co-create with spirit, which you would always try and do, but it was really the grandmother that was more the crow. The stag spirit, you would try and take the lead, but you couldn't. He had to do that. You had to go out and meet. So this rites of passage that would happen over and over and over, this was just until he could get full antlers going for himself before he could come towards you. That's what happened. It feels like he would have died somewhere maybe in his early 50s, late 40s. So you didn't have a huge amount of time. I mean, for back then you probably did. I don't know if you would even worried about remarried or not. You were pretty independent. I think you were pretty set, but I think that's what the whole concern was about. I think that's complete. That's complete. You were victorious in this. Yeah. Very much. Very much. That's what I've got for you.
All right.
Wow.
Earlier she said, that's funny, I have to be the bear now from my last reading I just had.
Yeah, well, you might have a strong connection with bears forever. I don't know. Fuck's sakes. A whole different deck, too, by the way. Sheesh. Really funny.
She said thank you.
You are welcome. You are so welcome.